my friend. Okay, I am studying for the Mary Slessor. Let me show you. I'm gonna read the story and then I might have to read it two, three, four times. So I want to be able to go on. Um, I'll do it live. Okay, so this is it, Mary Slessor. Right, 5-part flashcard missionary story for children's ages 5 to 12 years. Okay, this is actually a canoe that has like a protective layer. And just so you know, it's over here. I looked this up too, and honestly, it's right there. If you kind of zoom in, all this green stuff is not grass. It's like I think it's water area or waterways. Well, anyway, there is whether it's grass or not. It's a lot of waterways over there. Yeah, because obviously that's not grass. It's probably just forested or whatever. Okay, I haven't been to that location, but she was sent to Nigeria eventually, and that's basically where the story starts. And this one starts here. Okay, technically it starts in chapter one, but my wife already did this. Called the Calabar, and she grew up, with the hard family life, and but she became the boss, and then somebody taught her the Bible. She learned the Bible. She learned about Jesus and wanted to know more about him, and became um, infatuated with Jesus. So she read the Bible as she um, went about her days. She was okay. So basically, this is it. This was one, right? Okay. So let's start the actual reading of this. So chapter two, Duketown to Old Town. What had been the most exciting day of your life? Hmm. Maybe it was your birthday, or maybe your family went on a really fun vacation, or maybe it was your first day of school. Mary Slessor was about to experience the most exciting day of her life. All right. And so let me show you real quickly what happened in chapter one. Super quickly because I don't want to. So Mary loved children and taught the Bible in Bible club. There was a boy that tried to hurt her, flailing this thing, and it was right next to her head, and basically um, hit her. But she stood up to him, and she became, she did dangerous things, but then she was victorious. So let's continue. Let's continue. Yeah. Many have been dreaming. Mary had been dreaming while her life becoming a missionary in Calabar. Show Calabar on the map. So I did that earlier. Some people thought that it was foolish for her to go, but Mary decided to obey God. She trained to be a teacher and talked to people about what she would do as a missionary. Finally, the day came when she boarded a really big boat called the SS Ethiopia. Never heard of this boat, but okay. Let's all pretend to Get on this boat. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. I bet there was a lot of um, seasickness. So do the children. This is the day that she had been waiting for since she was a little girl. She finally is going to Calabar. Gosh, that's amazing. Hi, Cuckoo Kit. What's going on? Hope that you're having a good day. So it was. This was the day she was waiting for. It was cold. Yeah, it was cold in Scotland the day she left. But as the ship traveled farther and farther south, Mary felt the air getting warmer and warmer until it finally very hot. Yeah, I'm okay. Kala, I'm glad that you caught me. Okay, let me tell you real quick. Okay, I'm reading the missionary story about Mary Slessor. Okay, Mary Slessor uh, was born in 1848 and died in 1951, and she was called a missionary to Africa. Let me show you the part of Africa since maybe you didn't see the map here. Good question. So there it is right there. Calabar. I don't think I could zoom in. Maybe. Hold on. No. Hold on. Let me move this. There you go. Calabar. I zoomed in a little bit. Yeah. And when I looked at the map, there's a lot of rivers and things like that. So I could see uh, people using canoes and stuff to get to transport things. Okay. Okay. Let's see. All right. I don't know. I just messed up with this setting to zoom. There we go. Okay, I'll keep it like that. Okay, the ship sailed along the coast for a while until she entered one of the rivers before coming to Calabar. Along the shore, she saw plants and animals that didn't live in Scotland. Yeah, fantastic. She didn't live in Scotland. What types of animals do you think she may have seen? Do you know, what animals? Well, it says right here that in Nigeria there are crocodiles, parrots, hippos, leopards, and other animals. Can you make some of the noises that she may have heard some of these animals make? Ooh, crocodile noises. I'm not sure. Mary um, saw people of Calabar for the first time. They were paddling canoes up and down the river. Everything was new and exciting. She was finally a missionary. She liked the she had a dream her whole life and it was coming true. After 5 weeks of sailing, the ship stopped at a place called Duketown. That's where Mary began her life as a missionary. Soon she began to teach a class of boys at the school of missionaries had started in Duketown. The the boys were kind and respectful as they listened to Mary teach that day. But she had a bigger dream, not just to be there, but to preach to different people. Okay, let me continue. Mary Mary's life in Calabar was completely different than her life in Scotland. She worked hard to learn the language so she could talk to people and tell them about Jesus. She learned how to travel in a canoe, and she even dressed differently. Instead of wearing fancy clothes people wore in Scotland, Mary wore simple, loose fitting dresses and didn't wear any shoes or socks. Mary had long, curly red hair, but in Calabar, she cut it all off so it was easier for to care for. Ma- Many of the people who lived near Duketown had already heard about Jesus because lots of missionaries lived there. But occasionally, Mary traveled into the jungle with one or two other missionaries to meet people who had never heard about Jesus. She met a lot of people and realized how many people needed to know about Jesus for themselves, something, not just some things about him. Then people want, as Mary, you know what? I think we'll stop here. Or do you want me to keep going, or do you want me to? Yeah, because this is a long story. Um, I don't know. Let's keep going. As Mary learned more and more of the language, she hiked through the thick jungles and visited different villages. She learned so much about how people lived and what they believed during these trips. In one village, another missionary, John Bailey, preached a sermon about Jesus. After he spoke, he asked Mary she could if she would like to say a few words. She asked him to read from John chapter 5 about a man who was healed by Jesus. Then with the word she knew in Afiki language, don't know how to pronounce that, but she tried to tell the people that Jesus could heal them from their problem of sin. Let's pretend to travel through the jungle with Mary, stopping to teach people at different villages. Wow. Okay. If you're still with me, I'm gonna keep going. Not, then I'm leaving. Okay. Mary taught school and helped at the missionary house at Duketown. She visited the local women in their homes. Here she got to know them and learned about their lives, customs, and languages. She got better and better at speaking Afiki. After Mary had visited more and more villages, she was no longer satisfied to stay in Duketown. Mary wanted to live among the people who had never heard about Jesus. She was determined to travel the villages where the missionaries had never gone, even though many people said it wasn't a good idea, it's too dangerous. People would say, a woman can't travel alone, you'll be killed. Mary kept praying and trusting God to guide her further into the jungle when the time was right. But then, much to her dismay, she became very sick with malaria. This also happened to one of her favorite missionaries, David Livingstone. He also got sick, had malaria. Okay, let's just continue. um, Use your face to show how you would look if you were very sick. After 3 years in Africa, she had to return to Scotland to get better. Many people wondered if she would live to return to Calabar. Do you think she would return? Do you think that she would return? I don't know. Let's find out. So, if you're still with me, great. But Mary recovered after after some time in Scotland. She returned to Calabar. After she arrived in Duketown, the missionaries told her that she would not be staying there. Mary's dream to go further into the jungle to tell people about Jesus was coming true. They were sending her to Old Town, which was further into the jungle. She would be the only missionary in or at Old Town. When Mary first arrived in Old Town, the first thing she saw was a pole with bones hanging from it, set in front of the meeting house. That was definitely different than the mission houses and churches that had welcomed her in Duketown. But Mary knew she was in Old Town for a reason. These people needed to know about Jesus. The people did many evil things, but one of the things that disturbed Mary the most was how people treated twin babies. They believed a lie that twin babies had bad luck. If twins were born, they were killed or abandoned in the jungle, and the mother was kicked out of the village. This made Mary very sad and angry. The people did not realize that every life is precious, no matter how small or weak. Uh, it's precious to God, right? Because we're made in the image of God. So one day the baby was left in Mary's doorstep. She was hold on. Does it say he was a crying? He was crying, and no one would tell her where the baby had come from. Mary took the baby to live with her. Can you pretend to rock a baby very gently? Do with the children, yeah? So, if you can imagine a baby, babies need uh, people. They can't live by themselves. The boy did not survive, but Mary named the. Oh, this is a separate thing, sorry. So, soon Mary had several abandoned babies with her. One day, Mary rescued her first set of twins, the boy and the girl. The, the boy did not survive, but Mary named the girl Janie after her youngest sister. Janie became one of Mary's daughters. Some of the children Mary rescued became her adopted children. Recruiting and talking taking care of the twin babies was a big job, but that's not all Mary did. She traveled from village to village helping people who were sick. She gave them medicine and prayed for them. Mary became famous among the villages in Calabar. People started calling her Ma because she took care of them like a mother. Chiefs and leaders from all over Calabar asked for Mary to help them when someone was sick or there was a big argument. When when there was an emergency, people yelled, "Run, Ma! Run!" Can you shout that with me? Okay, so I think I'll give you a little bit. I heard that later on they're gonna call her like a queen. So I'm not sure later on if they talk about it, but yeah, she's became a leader in a way, not just a missionary, but a leader. When you ask Jesus to be your savior, he wants you to be a leader also. Let's see. A chief in another village, 30 miles away, heard of Mary and wanted to visit, and she wanted to visit him. She agreed to travel there by canoe with several of her children. When when they were in a big tornado came though, or tornadoes were common in that area, but that doesn't make it less scary. It just common doesn't mean it's Mary and her children were very afraid. Let's pretend. Let's pretend to make sounds like a storm, right? Let's trees and canoes and roofs flying uh, around. Okay, this is the picture, right? This is the picture of um, this canoe being torn apart, but not completely because um, they survived because they prayed. It says Mary gathered her children around her and said, "Come, let us sing to the Lord." And they started to sing together. The storm was bad, and it even blew the roof off um, while they were in it. But finally it passed, and everyone was safe. But they were all soaking wet because the roof blew off. This caused Mary to come down with fever, and it was several days before she was better. But storms didn't stop Mary from wanting to tell more people about Jesus. She knew there were more villages where the good news of Jesus had never been shared. She dreamed to go to Okuyung, Okuyung uh, people next. Can you say with me very slow voice? Uh, but Okuyung people were even worse than the people in Old Town had been. Don't go, Ma, her friends in Old Town begged. Those people are so evil. They'll hurt you and your children. Hmm. Did Mary go? Was she safe? How would the Okiyoung people treat Mary? You'll have to come back tomorrow to find out next time. Now there's some review questions. I don't. Do you think I should go over the review questions for those who stayed to the end here? What was one way Mary's life was different in Calabar than in Scotland? She had to learn the language. She had to learn how to travel in a canoe. She dressed differently and she cut off her hair to make it easier to take care of. The weather, the plants, The animals were different. Why did Mary not want to stay in Duketown? She had it easy there. Why did you want to stay? Why didn't you want to stay? She wanted to go live among the people who had never heard about Jesus. The people in the old town did many evil things, but what was one of the things that disturbed Mary the most? The people thought twin babies uh, bought, brought bad luck and would kill or abandon them and kick the mother out of the village. What did Mary and her children do when they were scared of the tornado? They sang together. And what did the people start calling Mary? And why? Well, they started calling her Ma because she took care of them like a mother. Okay, let's find out what happens next time. I don't know if I'll be reading this next time, but I think if you like this, like the video, um, if you want to hear more like this, maybe you could consider subscribing. Um, Maybe I'll get back to part one. I think it's only fair if I read that. Um, is there something in the story that you want to learn more about? I would highly recommend you research it. Her character, you know, her one of her influences and things like that. How did she become a missionary? A little bit more detail about that. Do you want to become a missionary? And I think you guys have a great day. I'm gonna go to sleep now. God bless you.